Good morning, everyone. This is No More Toxic People. I just wanted to make this video to kind of follow up my last two-part series, if you will call it that, on the female narcissist. I had some feedback, and I want to say thanks to everyone who took the time to watch those videos. I know they're a little longer. I try to keep my videos around under 25 minutes or so. I know some of them run a little long because I do tend to talk a lot. It's a southern thing, I guess. But I do appreciate the feedback. And female narcissists, I never really knew this term. I knew nothing about none of this stuff. I mean, I've heard, just like everyone else, if you've watched a movie or a television show, you've heard that word, narcissist, thrown around. And I never really knew, and I'm still learning as I go. Every time I watch a video someone else makes, every time I read the comments, I go and I click on some article that I try to learn more and more about this disorder. And I do understand that not everyone in the world is a narcissist just because they have bad behavior. But you can kind of pick up on, as you learn more about it, you can kind of see things in people. Like I was talking about this friend that I thought was my friend. I never really knew of the word narcissist connected to her until I met and became involved with my ex. And after the discard from him and after 2.5 years of hoovering, I finally started to get it. I finally started to put words or a description to this. I started to learn about all this stuff. And I guess what happened was, once I learned about it from him, I started recognizing signs in other people that I had friends and relatives, and I just started thinking, is it me? Am I just like drawn to these types of people? I don't know. I don't know if we can ever really know the answers to what leads people like that to us, or what leads us to them. I do know, and I believe this with my whole heart, that I was targeted by this man, my ex. I know that it was not just a random meeting. The more I think about it, and the more I analyze it, I realize that he had a plan. I don't know exactly what his plan was. I don't know why they set out to destroy somebody who they've never really even known in their life. I mean, everybody, we get mad at people. There are people in our lives that we have that, there are people in my life, as bad as I hate to admit this, but there are people in my life that wronged me or made me feel bad or did something that hurt me years ago, that I still harbor this kind of like resentment and revengeful feelings toward. I guess maybe it's just a part of human nature, but I do not deliberately set out to cause problems in their life. I try to avoid them as much as possible. Saw me and thought, okay, let's see what I can get out of this person. Let's see what games I can play with their life. And he sure did. But once I came out of that with him, when you're in a down place in your life, when you're kind of in a low place, when you're going through an emotional upheaval or some physical illness or just, financial or whatever it is that brings you kind of down to a low point, you do, without sometimes even recognizing it or realizing it, you do kind of gravitate toward other people and you do lean on them. And maybe you confide things in people in good faith, thinking that these people are my friends, these people are there to listen to me, and in the long run you find out that you should have kept those things to yourself. And you know, that's hard. That's a hard thing to do, because some people do that just by their nature. They internalize everything. They bottle it up. And some people like myself have to get it out. And I could have lashed out at him in anger, and I could have caused a lot more damage to him by revealing some things about him to this woman. When she contacted me, the woman that he was, the supply he had before me, and then he went right back to her after he discarded me. She tried to contact me about 6 or 7 months later, wanting to, it came across to me like she was wanting to fight with me over this. And since so much time had passed, I was not going to play that game with her. I was not going to jump into some he said, she said battle back and forth with these people. I was glad at that point that he was not in my life anymore. But I could have told her a whole lot of stuff and I could have been one of those people that just keeps this drama alive, and I didn't want that. So, but I'm sure looking at it now from a different point of view, that this so-called friend of mine probably did tell her some things. Because there's just people out there like that. They can't. Excuse me, I had to get a drink of coffee. They just can't hold on to it. You can say to them, don't tell anybody I told you this. And that is just almost like lighting the wick, or what is it called? The like on a firecracker. And you say, don't tell anybody. And then that's just almost like lighting that, you know, getting ready for that to go off, because they can't help themselves. And the very first time that they're around another person and they can't hold on to it, it's just like it's like a firecracker wanting to explode inside of them, and they have to, you know, tell it. But if you think about it, it's probably better for you yourself to just tell it, you know, and be transparent and not keep secrets. I mean, we all have secrets, and we all hold on to things that hurt us, and we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want people to say, I know that hurts her. You know, that's something that hurts her, and maybe try to use that to make you feel bad. But we just, it's better really to be transparent. But I knew at that time in my life, I knew in that moment I didn't want this drama anymore, and I had somebody good in my life. I was finally starting to put all this behind me. I was finally starting to feel a little bit of normalcy again. And then here these people are. And I don't know what led up to it. I don't know if something had gone on between the two of them inside their home, and they'd had some kind of a spat. And you know how it is when you fight with your spouse or your loved one. Sometimes you argue and you get into an argument, and sometimes painful memories are thrown up, and people say, remember when you said this or did this? And they do that to hurt the other person. But they also do it because it's kind of hurting them. So I'm sure that this woman, when she went straight back to him, as soon as he discarded me, I mean, we're talking about a period of 2 or 3 days, she was moved back in. And I'm sure at that time, she probably thought, she was surviving. She was grasping to get her family back together. And she probably just ran straight back in, happily trying to put her family and her life back together the way it had been. And didn't think about these things. Didn't think about why he dumped her and then moved me into his home about 2 weeks later. Probably didn't take the time to really analyze everything that had happened and what led him to do that. What led him to go for another woman and then throw her out, move me in, throw me out, move her back in. It was like I've compared it to, and I will continue to compare it to, water being down a drain, like really quickly, just a whirlwind. Or a whirlpool, I guess, swishing down the drain. That's how fast all this was happening. And so 6 months has passed now, and she's had time to think about things. Maybe they've had their first big blow-up argument after moving back in together. Whatever it was, whatever set her off, if she thought he was chatting with somebody on his phone, if she caught him texting, it wasn't with me, I can tell you that right now, but if she caught him doing something that she suspected something, she may have thrown my name up in there, you know, and for some reason, out of the blue, she decides she needs to know the truth, finally. So she starts contacting my friends on social media. Instead of coming to me like a woman and saying, you know, I'm confused about this situation. I don't know what, you know, he's not being honest with me. What really went on between the two of you? I would like to know for my own peace of mind. I would like to know if he's lying to me. But no, instead, she went to my friends and she called me every kind of name under the sun. And then she sent me messages calling me names. And I guess she thought that was going to lead me to come running with all this info, you know. But instead, what it did was pissed me off. And I just let all these players know that I wasn't going to be a pawn. I didn't want anything to do with any of it. And leave me out of it and go on with your life. You picked him. You chose to take him back right as soon as I moved out and my indention or my impression or whatever was still fresh on the bed sheets. He moved her right back in. So that was, you know, and you know, it's hard to say what he said to her. I never learned the truth. I'll probably never ever know any of that history or backstory. But it was this friend who I didn't even realize it at the time. I did not realize this until a couple of weeks ago when I had my own problems with this woman that came by just some random exchange of difference of opinion with her daughter on social media. And a parent will normally, typically take the child's side. We're talking about a woman who's 30 plus years old and who chose to attack her mother's friends on social media over you know, popular stories in the news at the moment. She had a disagreement or a difference of opinion with myself and one other of her mother's friends, and she verbally, like emotionally attacked us with just like insults to our intelligence and to our personal lives, and she cast the first stone, and then her mother ends up jumping in and discarding all her friends, which was fine with me because, you know, it wasn't no skin off of my tooth. It wasn't no loss in my life. I thought about that when the other woman, the other friend who she she was messaging me, telling me things that they had said to her, and these other women had ganged up on her over this difference of opinion over a political situation in the news right now, and that's going on in our state. And instead of being adults and just saying, I disagree with you and here's my opinion, they went after the personal. They started throwing out her personal, private secrets and things that had to have come from the mother because they were very close friends, and that's more than likely who she was confiding in and telling these things to. So that proved to her that her so-called friend was throwing her out under the bus. But I'm glad now. I'm glad now that I know. That way I don't have to have, that's one less flying monkey that I have to worry about in my life. And I think back, and I really did. I sat here and I thought back, what, does she know anything on me that could later bite me in the butt? That she's going to come out and tell all these secrets on me, the way she did her other friend. But when I really sit and thought about it, I thought, no. Everything I've ever said to her has been truthful, and I've not tried to keep it from anybody. When I was involved with the narcissist and I was living in his home and I was going out with him, out to eat in the restaurants and grocery shopping, and we were hanging out with friends on the weekends, I wasn't trying to keep this a secret. I didn't, sneak around through the dark night and hide. I was open with my feelings toward him. I was open with my relationship toward him. And he was trying to keep it on the down low to this other woman, the mother of his child. How she could not have known is beyond me. She did know about it. She did see me and him together. But, whatever it was he was taking back to her as far as his side of the story, I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of wrap that up about this whole flying monkey friendship. I appreciate everybody who took the time to watch and comment, and I'm going to end on this note. I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who took the time to watch my videos. I know they were a little long, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to kind of get those stories out there and compare the two different types of female narcissists that I've come into contact with. I'm sure there are many others, and God only knows what these women do with men behind closed doors. I'm not talking sexually, of course that's one thing about it, but what I'm talking about is how they manipulate them privately, how they use, and these married men, it's bad enough that they're out here cheating with these women behind their wives and their families' back, but some of them may get into a situation where they just really can't get out of it with these kinds of destructive women, because they also ask themselves, what can be told on me? Does this person have photos of us together? Do they have text messages that they've saved? And they have, believe me, they are, a narcissist is like in their self, in their own mind, they are a filing cabinet of every memory, of every conversation you've ever had. They save it, they keep it, they remember it. Of course, they conveniently forget everything they say and do. They conveniently forget every lie that they tell. They conveniently forget every time they cheated. But they remember everything that you said to them. And that's bad enough that they're able to remember it, but they also screenshot. They save photos. If you're sending photos of yourself that are of a sexual or private nature, they keep those. Don't think for 1 minute when they're saying, oh, I'm not showing it to anybody and it's just for me, just send it to me. They keep those, believe me. And my ex said something to me one time about something to do with the phone and the cell phone. And he said, well, I don't even know how to do that on my phone. That's a lie. They tell you that stuff so that you think, oh, they're just, they don't know how to make a folder and put pictures in it. I don't have to worry about that. Don't believe anything that they tell you. Don't believe anything that a narcissist tells you. But they do at times let their guard down. And sometimes it's not even in what they say, but in how they behave. And so I've learned through this flying monkey friend, and when you get to be my age, you just decide, I'm dealing with people who behave on the 16, 17-year-old level. And who has time for that? Women who have no husbands, women who have no children, women who have no families at home to take care of, women who really have no life other than to interfere in or to try to interject themselves into somebody else's life. So if you have a friend out there, if you think that they're your friend, and they fit this description, and I'm not saying that all single women or all women whose children have grown up and moved out and they now find themselves alone, I'm not saying that all women are like that, but if they're exhibiting certain behaviors such as asking a lot of questions about your personal life or offering this caring, listening ear, and at the same time they are friends with someone who you have like a, situation like your ex or your ex's ex, you might want to just kind of rope in what you say to these people. If you feel a need to confide or to unburden yourself, go to a doctor, go to a clinic, go to a social worker, go to a clergy person, go to the woods and tell it to a tree stump, that's not going to tell it back. Or get out your cell phone and record it and put it on YouTube privately the way that I do. And then your phone records it and keeps it, and everybody that they know knows about it. So, anyway, I'm going to end on this. Thanks for watching.